This is stop 3 on the Regina Cyclone self-guided walking tour. The Regina Cyclone of 1912 was Canada's deadliest tornado, with 28 dead and 10% of the city's population left homeless. This tour will lead you through locations in Regina's downtown, starting from the Hotel Saskatchewan and continuing north through the downtown before completing the tour at Victoria Park. Along the way, you will learn about landmarks, both past and present, that mark impacted locations affected by the cyclone's destructive power. The next building on our tour is the Metropolitan Methodist Church, now called Knox-Metropolitan United Church, at 2340 Victoria Avenue. Regina's third Methodist church, Metropolitan Methodist, was built at a cost of $60,000 in 1906 to 1907. The building, a Norman and Gothic revival blend, was a popular style for churches at the time. The original architects were Darling and Pearson. On June 30th, 1912, 2 funnel clouds streaked up Smith and Lawrence Streets on a northward path of destruction. Metropolitan Methodist was directly in the path of one of the twin funnels. Damage to the building was substantial. Images of Metropolitan Methodist's tornado damage became iconic shots of the storm's damaging potential. The funnel cloud had torn through a residential area at 4:50 in the afternoon on a Sunday, when many families were at home preparing supper, and thus the death toll was 28, the most fatalities of any tornado in Canada. Had the cyclone been earlier in the day, however, its path would have leveled the congregations of 3 separate churches, driving the death toll much higher. Metropolitan Methodist's renovations after the storm were designed by Francis Portnell and James H. Punton. As with all the cyclone damage, repairs were completed within a year of the cyclone. Metropolitan Methodist repairs are still visible on the north side of the church. The bricks change color, showing the amount of the original structure that remained on that side after the storm touched down. In 1927, Francis Darke, a former mayor of Regina, donated 12 bells, weighing nearly 16 tons, to Metropolitan Methodist Church. The bells, which are tuned to the diatonic scale of C, have a span of an octave and a fifth. They were made by Mears and Steinbank of London, England, which has been in business since 1570, and which cast all the bells for Westminster Abbey. The largest bell weighs almost 2 tons and has 2 clappers. The bells, known as the Darke Memorial Chimes, were presented in memory of Clifford Albert Darke, son of Mr. and Mrs. Francis Darke. The bells serve as a memorial to pioneers of Regina. In the words of Francis Darke, they are a memorial and tribute to the early pioneers of this city, whose faith and great vision did so much to place the civic and religious life of this city on an exceptionally high plane, and made possible the splendid city we now enjoy. The chimes are controlled by individually hung ropes arranged in a circular fashion. They can be played by one or several ringers at the same time. All of the music is arranged by a ringer or written specifically for the chimes, many as entries in the composer's competition. When the bells are rung, a number of traditions are observed. The tower bells are rung in quick succession in what is called rounds, 12 in all, before and after a piece is played. Each piece is played through twice so that the public can appreciate the music. For weddings, the ringers start with rounds, then create a joyful sound by following one another closely, ringing 3 or 4 bells at the same time. This continues 12 times in order to announce to the community that there is one less single female available. These are known as the wedding clashes. The bells are also rung by request for funerals of important community figures, and each time a reigning monarch from any country in the world dies, the bells are rung once for each day of the monarch's reign. This tradition was started at the request of devout monarchist Francis Darke. The congregation of Metropolitan Methodist first started holding services back in 1882 when Regina was originally settled. By 1925, the United Church of Canada brought together Congregational, Methodist, and Presbyterian congregations across the country. For Regina, this meant that 2 United Churches now stood within 1 block of one another. The Knox-Presbyterian Church was located at the corner of Lorne and 12th Avenue. Initially, the 2 congregations maintained separate identities despite their close proximity, but by 1951, the congregations joined together. Only one church was needed in the downtown, and the Metropolitan Methodist building became Knox-Metropolitan United Church. Knox members walked en masse to their new building to symbolize the union. For Knox Metropolitan congregants, music is a massively important part of their identity. Since 1941, the church has hosted the Rotary Carol Festival during the Christmas season. Proceeds of the festival, which typically sells out, go toward raising funds for needy families. 90-plus choirs and singing groups are typically involved in the Rotary Carol Festival each year. Knox Metropolitan has a Cassavant organ, which routinely sees 14-plus organists practicing on it regularly, something the church estimates as a Canadian record. The music program centers on the organ and a 30-plus member choir, but the church also routinely features performances by Canada's oldest symphony orchestra, the Regina Symphony Orchestra, as well as the Regina Philharmonic Chorus and numerous other groups and choirs. The building features prominent and subordinate towers on either side of the front entry arcade, and large stained glass windows on 3 sides. Knox Metropolitan Church serves as an activity hub for the downtown community. 50 groups and organizations hold regular meetings in the building, including anonymous groups of various types, Toastmasters, business organizations, the Genealogical Society, and Weight Watchers. The Regina Anti-Poverty Ministry is headquartered in the building as well, operating advocacy and assistance programs within the community, as well as an international ministry, outreach, and immigration sponsorships. The building has been a municipal heritage property since 1986. A commemorative plaque is attached to the building. The next stop on our tour is the former site of the YWCA and the McCausland home, located at 1950 to 1930 Lawrence Street. You can find the City of Regina on Twitter and Facebook, or visit regina.ca for more information about Regina, including more heritage and history content.